The Northern Hemisphere is engulfed in a crippling heat crisis.
The climate crisis is a universal threat to humankind.
In Greece, thousands have fled as wildfires rage for a third day. The scale of the destruction, devastating. In China, temperatures have soared as high as 52 degrees. In California, tourists have flocked to Death Valley, where a heat dome pushed temperatures to near record levels.
I would just want to go to a place sort of like Mount Everest to say, you know, you did it.
The fact that people are coming out here to celebrate this, it's not a milestone.
The tumbling hot weather records in the Northern Hemisphere are warning. Our time, too, will come again.
I really do think we are quite complacent. We hide behind the fact that we do live in quite a warm country and that, you know, it's part of our identity. But the problem is what's coming in the future, bigger than 50-degree days in places like Sydney and Melbourne, we have never experienced. We don't have the capacity to even understand what that's like, let alone cope with that heat.
Experts cautioning that our towns and cities aren't ready. Our infrastructure, transport systems, power grids in need of bolstering for the climate of the future.
We can do a lot more to retrofit houses and infrastructure. So, for example, putting in more insulation or double glazing windows, or even painting our roofs white.
And the consequences for our health are gobsmacking. Europe's heatwaves last summer have been linked to more than 61,000 deaths.
What we're seeing now is only the beginning. And if we continue to see extreme weather events like heatwaves, we'll see our hospitals really struggling to meet that impact.
Compared with a global average of 1.1, Australia has warmed by 1.4 degrees over the past 100 years. Our home first in the firing line when the climate apocalypse comes.
We are locked into a certain amount of warming. It's not just going to be enough to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We have to adapt as well.
I think there's so many areas that this would affect, but of course I tend to bring everything back to sport. And one of the things that I don't think we consider is just how much hotter than usual summers will impact on our national pastimes. So, for example, we like to think that in summer we can sit in our air-conditioned homes and watch cricket, but if it's 50 degrees, people can't play cricket. You can put roofs over stadiums, but that doesn't help the kids who want to play on a Saturday morning. So there's so many outdoor things that we think that we just take for granted, but as things heat up, those sort of pastimes are really, and sport is really going to come under pressure.
Well, even the thought that we live in a hot country, like we don't actually. Like, go to Dubai.
Yeah.
That's a hot country. And what happens in Dubai when it's summer is everyone disappears for the whole day because you can't go outside. Now, if that's the lifestyle, like they've built a culture around that, we haven't. So our culture would change so dramatically if we ever lived in a properly hot place. Like it's the stuff you say, but it's everything else that's around.
Yeah, and it's the things that we probably don't consider that it impacts on our whole way of life. Like, I can go inside and turn my aircon on, but there's so many other things
Not when there's
to think
rolling
about.
blackouts and things like that that come with that days and days of hot weather.